Hello, this is Prof Rajiv Vincent, Assistant Professor, School of Computing Science and Engineering, VIT University, Chennai campus. Today, I am going to deliver a lecture on user authentication, which forms as a part of SWE 511 Information System Security. So, this user authentication is a fundamental security building block, as we all know. So, without this user authentication, today none of the processes occur. So it forms as a basis of access control and user accountability, and it's also the process of verifying an identity claimed by or foreign system entity. So we can have that as a basic definition for user authentication. So if you want to identify a person, so it is done by actually authenticating or authorizing that particular person. So we call it as, like, the definition goes like this. So it is the process of verifying an identity claimed by or for a system entity. So it has two steps. So it is the identification and verification. So identification is actually is to specify the identifier, and verification, it will bind the entity and the identifier. So the entity is nothing but the person. So these two steps form the basis of user authentication. So identification is the means by which a user provides a claimed entity to a system. So you have a system to work on, so you want to make sure the right person works on the system. So this is done by using the user authentication. So user authentication is a means of establishing the validity of the claim. So if someone claims he is the person, so you have to authenticate and authorize that particular person. And it is also the making a distinction between two people or more people, two or more people. So two persons cannot claim the same identity. And message authentication is a procedure that allows communicating parties to verify that the contents of the received message have not been alerted and that the source is authentic. So we can also make assurance that the message from the source is an authentic one. So these are the things that are concerning with the user authentication. And there are four means of authenticating a user's identity based on what the user knows and what the user possesses and who actually the user is and what he does. So what does the user know? So it's the basis of user authentication. He knows the password. If you want to access the system, he need to know the system username and password. So it's a basic one, and it's the easier means of authenticating a user. So if you are going to use a ATM, you will have a PIN number. So with the PIN number, you can make assurance that the particular person is the one who is allowed to access the ATM machine. And next is the one that the user possesses. For example, you have a key, a token, or a smart card. So these are the things you possess. With the thing that you possess, you try to access the system. So key might be a public key or a private key. Tokens are issued on temporary basis. So if someone wants an access to a particular system, he can be given with a token. He can access the system for a particular period of time, and he can terminate the usage. And also, you know what's a smart card. So so next is what is, like, it's a we can divide into two types here. It's concerned with the biometrics one. So we divide into two types: what he is and does. So the is something but static biometrics, and does is the dynamic biometrics. So the standard biometrics is nothing but a fingerprint or a retina identification. And what the user does, it's like a voice or a signature. It might be a digital signature. So all these four can work on their own, or it can work on with a combination. And all these things provide user authentication. And all these things have some issues also. So we are going to see all these types of user authentication. First one is password authentication. So the basic one to identify any system is user authentication, and the basis of user authentication is password authentication. So without the password authentication we cannot access the system. So it is the most widely used user authentication method, and here you provide a username or a login and also a password. And what does the system do when you enter a username or a password? It just has a predefined file which has all the usernames and the passwords. It just matches the username password and gives you the required authentication. So here we authenticate the ID of a user who is actually trying to log into a system, and that the user is, so when it is true, the username and password is true, the user is authorized to access the system. It also determines the user's privilege, and it is also used in discretionary access control. So all the users are not given the same privilege. So some users are having higher preference and some users are having lower preference. For example, you can say that the faculty will have a higher preference than the students. So students doesn't have access to some systems because it might be confidential. So what are the password vulnerabilities we have? So if you know that if you have a username and password, it is always prone to be attacked. So we should see the different vulnerabilities that are associated with a password. First one is offline dictionary attack. So what is the dictionary? Dictionary is one which has a predefined set of words, which like little meaningless dictionary is like a list of words with their meaning, right? So it is like having a set of words or a set of passwords which you can use for attacking a system. So that passwords can be got, like for example, if you know a person, is first attempt will be like he will use his name, next will be his date of birth, like if he is married he will keep his spouse's name, if he is not married his mother's name or his father's name, or it might be his pet name or a school name, etc. Can be a dictionary word that can be used to attack the password file. So here you have to restrict the access to the password file, and also you should not allow the dictionary words while you actually design a system to accept the passwords. So here dictionary attack is a very common one, and it can be easily avoided, right, by means of restricting the access to the password file, or you need not allow the dictionary words at all. The next one is it has a vulnerability of specific account attack. So we try to lock out a particular account to avoid this specific account attack. So I know a particular account, I'm trying to access the same account over and over again. So this is nothing but a specific account attack. So that can be avoided by using the lockout mechanism. So when you try for more than 1 or 2 times, the account will automatically be locked out. So for the best example will be when you access a internet banking website. If you try, most of the sites allow you to try for 3 times or maximum of 5 times, then your account will be locked. Whoever account you're trying to access will be locked out, and you will be allowed to access the account after 24 hours. So this is the second one. Third one is the popular password attack. Like if you are familiar with a particular password, it's like you should not confuse this with the dictionary one. Some people have the name of the celebrity as a password, right? So whatever they like, or whatever they dislike, etc., so can be kept as a password. So I like Michael Jackson, for example, so I can keep that as a password and I can use it. So these kind of popular passwords should be not allowed to prevent this attack. And this is the third one. Coming to the fourth one, so it is like password guessing against a single user. So you try to guess the password against a single user. You know a user. So for example, I am the principal of this particular university, or I am the pro-vice chancellor of this particular university. I know the username. If I come to know the username, I try to actually attack the particular person's profile to get some confidential information. So here you have to train the users and restrict the pass policies to avoid this guessing of a password against a single user. And the fifth one is workstation hijacking. So this is another type of hacking. So here you actually hijack the workstation. So you know what is the workstation. So you try to hijack the workstation itself. So this is avoided by logging out after a particular period of a threshold, right? And the next one is exploiting user mistakes. For example, a user types out a particular password and he logs in and he leaves the session like that, and when another person comes in, he sees that his system is not logged off, he gets the password. So this is a simple mistake by which the other user gets the password. And what is exploiting multiple password is like here you want to exploit the multiple password use. So usage of multiple passwords are not allowed by using the policies. And also the next one is electronic monitoring, and this is done and it is avoided by using the encryption standards. So electronic monitoring is like you sit in the system and you try to hack or crack a particular password by some means. So that's avoided by using the encryption.